Hey, Pepin.
I almost died.
Wait, what?
Like dead.
It's not how the opening. What?
When you die, it's not good. Meter, it's not good.
Nate. Oh my God, we need to talk. Welcome back. So glad you guys could join us. I am here once again with my best friend, Nathan Pepin. How's it going today, Pepin?
Yo, I'm doing well. It's an exciting, I don't know, day, Saturday, whatever day you're listening. It's a Monday, right? And I almost died. How are you doing, Meter?
Nate, talk about what fucking happened, because that's an absurd statement to make. You talking about real life?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. So, this is the fun story here. So, first thing I'll say is I have type 1 diabetes. I was not born with it. I got diagnosed later in life, but essentially I need insulin to survive. And also, if I take insulin and my blood sugar was way too low, I could die. So, about like 50 milligrams per deciliter, what is it? Something like that. That's not a good rating. 40 is really bad. You get to like 30, a lot of people just pass out and they don't like come out. It's like a diabetic coma, it's called. And you get to a certain point and you just die because your brain can't function without blood glucose. But anyway, so the story starts off. I was getting ready for bed, and like my blood sugar was like kind of high that day, or that night rather, and it wasn't coming down. So I kind of do the calculation in my head. I'm like, okay, so I'll take this much insulin. Okay, cool. And so then I go to bed, and it's like I'm having these super vivid dreams while I'm sleeping. But the thing about these dreams, and it was super kind of odd because I have like abstract dreams, if that makes any sense. I mean, this isn't just like that night, but sometimes like I have a dream, but the dream doesn't actually, like I have visuals, but the visuals represent abstract things. Like you really like graphs, right? Or like nodes.
Did you just say, do you remember graphs?
Yeah, graphs.
Yeah, I remember graphs. Those
Yeah,
were good days.
yeah, graphs. So for the audience, graphs are just like a node chart, or like you have like one thing, it stems out and blah blah blah. So
Hey, why are you explaining what graphs are?
because the audience isn't here, they need to know and get here with us.
Just in case they've never experienced a good graph.
Yes, yes.
Hey, go on.
Anyway, in this dream, I was dreaming about like sorting through tickets, because a big part of my job right now is kind of dealing with tickets and kind of sorting them and kind of getting them worked and like doing new hire
Like
stuff.
tickets at a fair?
Tickets like when you have like a technical issue or like a support issue, you create like a ticket, and then that ticket goes to like the person who deals with it. So customer
Oh,
service.
like a repair request or whatever.
Right. Or if you go to like a deli and you get a ticket for like your place in line, I kind of like that essentially. And so
Oh, okay.
I was kind of like sorting through these tickets and going through the new hire process to get like people provisioned, and then things were like different than usual. And so from there, I started like kind of drifting through and kind of getting things situated and sorted, and like none of it was really making sense because like in one part of the dream I kind of go outside the graph, but I'm still like in this kind of graph like kind of thing moving from like node to node. And then another part, like I was actually in this like not quite a jungle, but it's like imagine like a how do you say it, it's almost like a like a track field, right, with the little loop around, and then there's like a kind of a jungle, but it's on top of like a terrace. And that's a little bit of an extreme sort of thing, but there was stuff happening there, and there's important people on that track field, and I was trying to talk to them and determine who was needing work and who wasn't, and I started doing all the sorting, kind of going back and forth, and it was very, very confusing. And then eventually I kind of realized like the system was flawed, and I could actually fix it by doing all these things, and that I would have to get like put everything into into the P category. And it's like, okay, so put everything in the P category. Doesn't that makes sense? P, okay. And so the dream kind of went on a little bit, but then I woke up. But I don't know if this makes any sense, but I had like no vision essentially. Like I could see, but I couldn't see. It's kind of like it was there, but my brain wasn't processing it. And like P, what does that mean? I need to put things into P. And then from that, I concluded that I needed to use the bathroom. So I go to the bathroom and I take a little pee, and I'm just there, just really confused because I'm still kind of in the dream, like in part of my brain. And I'm just like, what is happening? What is going on? And so from the bathroom, I eventually go back to my room and have like my phone right by the bed, and I'm kind of looking at a couple things, but I'm kind of seeing it, but not really seeing it. And I'm trying to think. I was trying to do something. I was trying to put things into the P category. I was trying to get the P, but what was that? So I started like just looking at things and just kind of like grabbing them and just going like, is this it? No, this it? What does P stand for? And so I kept on going on and on with this for about maybe, I don't even know how long it was. My sense of time was not very good. But I started thinking, what would it be? Pills. Pills? Okay, pills. So then I just ended up like grabbing some glucose tabs, which you need to kind of get your blood sugar up. It's pretty much like pure like sugar. And so I took some just because, P must stand for pills, I guess. At first I thought it was phone, right? And then I started like thinking a little bit, P, phone? Like, hold on. So then I eventually took my blood glucose reading, and I looked at it and it said like low. Like the way it reads out is low, is it's so low it can't even read it. That's just like the bottom, like it's beyond readable. And I'm like, huh, P for pills. I should take more, shouldn't I? And so it's a slow process, and eventually I started coming more back to my senses, and I was just kind of like sitting on the floor for about like 20-30 minutes, just kind of like slowly processing what was going on. Eventually I kind of came to my senses. I'm like, wait a second, I was just about dead right there. Like my brain was not functioning. Like it's like my vision started coming back, like my visual processing, I'll say, because like there was vision, but there wasn't really processing of what was going on. And it was like the freakiest thing out there, because this, like from my sort of mind, the dream was trying to tell me something, but what the dream was trying to tell me was very vague and opaque, and I misinterpreted like 3 different times. Well, I think the first time it was like pee, like as in, go pee, which may have been true because I did pee a little bit, I guess, but then it was really trying to get me to take like some glucose tabs, right, to get, do that. But it was such a weird way of, like, maybe I'm overinterpreting the dream, but I was fixated on that, like even like going back to my room, and I still thought I was in a dream, which is the other thing too, because I was still trying to sort through those papers and get this new hire situated. And yeah, and I think if I didn't happen to wake up there, good possibility I could have actually, gone to like a diabetic coma or something to that effect. Maybe I would have been fine, but I mean, it's fine, air quotes. But yeah, that was almost really bad and super awkward and strange.
Yeah, you were in the early parts of a coma,
That's what it seems like.
like pre-coma.
And I've had one other experience with that as well. And it's the weirdest thing because like your thoughts aren't, your thoughts make no sense. Like you have this line of thinking, but your line of thinking is separate from reality, or it's not even really a line of thinking. Like it's almost like you're in a dream logic. And it's really kind of fucked up. Actually, this one time, and this doesn't happen to me very often, so I'm usually very good about this shit here, so I want to make that clear. But, I'm still new to this, so it happens occasionally, for whatever reason. But this one day, or this one night, like, I woke up all of a sudden, and I had, like, a big tub of peanut butter, and, like, a mouthful of peanut butter, right? And
That's relatable.
I was just confused. I was just like, what? And I sat there for about like 15 minutes or so, just being like, why? What is going on? Like, and eventually I got the sense to check my blood sugar. And I checked my blood sugar, sure enough, it's low. And like, I should dose? So then, I took some glucose tabs. eventually my blood sugar starts coming up, and like did part of me like know I needed like something like to get my blood sugar up, and it went out, got something, but I got the worst fucking thing possible. Not only that, but it opened up a new jar of peanut butter, not an old one. Like, that's how we know it's not Nate. It's a whole other entity right there.
So wait, why is peanut butter the worst?
Because peanut butter is not very full of carbs. It's high protein, high fat. I mean, not high protein, but it's mostly high fat. And if you're going to use something to get up your blood sugar, you wouldn't use protein. Or, sorry, you wouldn't use peanut butter. Peanut butter is not a very good... I mean, liquid anything, if it has some carbs in it, it will bring it up, you know, but the question is how fast. Like, you might have, like, a super complex carb that you eat, and that will bring up your blood sugar by a certain amount, but it's going to hit your system more over time. So it might bring you up by, say, I don't know, let's say 50 points, but that'll be over, say, the course of 3 hours. Whereas if you have something where it's like white rice, where white rice hits your system super fast, or these glucose tabs, then you eat it, and then all of a sudden your blood sugar goes up that 50 points within, like, say, 30 minutes. So it's like a time kind of differential. And for peanut butter, it's not that good. And also, it's mostly protein and fat. It's not like a whole lot of carbs. And you want carbs for that sort of shit.
Well, it's good that your unconscious mind is keeping you alive.
I think so.
Peanut butter and pea.
Yeah, the two P's.
The two P's in life. Peanut butter and pills.
But it was super freaky. And I don't know how to put this exactly. Like, my brain is very... It's got a big processor in it. And I don't think because most of that time was me trying to parse out what was going on because I didn't understand the circumstance. And I don't think if I had those logical or kind of, you know, say deductive skills, you know, as bad as they were at the time, because it should have been pretty obvious, you know, to anybody who was from an outside perspective. But from like your brain doesn't have the fuel to function sort of perspective, I somehow was able to deduce it to what I needed to do. And maybe that was just kind of luck. But I think if I didn't have that deductive capability, you know, even in that state, I would have, you know, not actually got myself dosed. I would have just been like dead on a stick. Well, I had my girlfriend there, but she probably would find me in the morning, to be honest.
Or like if you weren't so damn stubborn in problem solving, like you might have just been like, I'll figure it out later and gone back to sleep.
That would have been a bad idea.
But there's the Dr. House in you. You're like, no, this problem needs to be solved before I do anything else in life. And just like House, pills was the answer.
Yep. See, that's who I was taking after there. Because I thought, who can I be? House. I mean, you were once
Lord.
House.
Was I?
Yep. Because you took
that?
You got like some sort of surgery or something, and you got some like Vicodin, and then you started watching. Is that right? No, hold on. I'm not sure if you started watching, got Vicodin. Maybe it was that you started watching House like crazy, and then you thought you became House, kind of mentally. This is like back in like college.
Oh, okay, yeah. That was when I had mono. I watched the entire series of House from episode 1 all the way through to the end, just like nonstop. Oh yeah, I remember that now. Because when I like didn't leave the basement because I had mono for however long.
Yeah,
it sucked.
Yeah,
I did kind of almost die there because it made my throat swell at one point, and it swelled up so much that it was like touching my gag reflex, and I was nonstop vomiting because it was swollen in on my uvula. So it was really bad. And if it had swollen any more, it would have cut off my air supply. I would have like suffocated.
That would be like a terrible way to die.
Brutal. Your throat swelling up from mono to the point where you throw up and suffocate to death.
Yeah, I also have never heard of that. That makes sense, but like it got so big it triggered your gag reflex. That's crazy.
Yeah, it was bad. I had to go to the doctor and get a shot in my ass, steroids.
Oh yeah. One thing about this whole kind of story is that dreams, I think, a lot of times can have some sort of like meaning to them, and I think that's kind of borne out with other people too. But I remember like my mom, she was it when I was little, or when me and my brother were little. It's like we had a night where I guess she had this dream about like uh, the house burning down or something like that. And she woke up and she's like, oh, what is that? And then she had a dream about something else with like something just melting. And she's like, okay, this is weird. So she got up and just started looking around just in case. And then she found that something was left on the stove, and essentially a whole like fuck ton of plastic melted, and the whole house was flooded with carbon monoxide. So
Wow.
we all had to like evacuate out and everything like that. But that was kind of freaky too. But that dream kind of told her, hey, like there's something up, and it communicated that in like a weird sort of non-direct way, because that's how dreams operate. I think a lot of times dreams don't have the vocabulary to like communicate what you need, so they have to do it like more opaquely. But yeah, that's another instance where it's like it told her what to do, but very vaguely. And thankfully, she took that advice seriously. Well, she not the first time, but the second time she took it seriously.
Yeah, that's fascinating. And dreams are always super, super interesting. Not the first time we've talked about them here on the show, but I think the first time we've talked about them in this way of like being communicative of like, real life things. And like how to actually sometimes like it's important to pay super attention, especially if you like wake up and you feel like something's off based on your dream. That's a good thing to kind of look into.
Mm, mm. Have you ever had a dream that kind of pointed you in a certain direction like that?
Mm, off the top of my head, not like that. I've had the zombie dreams a million times, and I stopped having them, and then I had a couple recently, and when I woke up, I had come up with an entire idea of what to do in a D&D campaign
Mm,
because I was like at a wall of I had written all of this stuff up to this point. I knew where I wanted the story to go eventually, but I hadn't gotten there yet, and I hadn't like fleshed everything out, and it was almost time to start actually acting on needing to move forward. So I needed to really get in on fleshing it out. When I woke up from the zombie thing, I'm like, I know exactly what's going to happen, and it's
mm.
going to be fucking awesome. So in that way, I was able to take something that was on the back burner in my brain and take the dream and make that work towards a goal I had.
Right, right. Now, was it like, do you remember the dream at all that triggered that, or was it just you woke up with knowledge?
I don't remember now. I think at the time I remembered, because I usually try and like actively hold on to bits of it at first, and I have a dream that is like rememberable,
Mm-hmm.
so that I can at least try and look at it a little bit and see if there's anything I can take from it.
Hmm. Right,
But
right.
it was much more like waking up with knowledge.
Hmm. Yeah, it's one thing I definitely think is supported by science too. That like your brain essentially is processing all its daily sort of happenings and what you've been thinking about while you sleep, and a lot of that occurs there. I mean, most dreams you have apparently are like not anything fun. Like it's just you driving, or you like typing on a keyboard, or doing like normal daily functions. And your brain essentially is trying to practice those normal daily functions that kind of like just learn and get them cemented. Uh, where we kind of think about dreams more generally is like being like I don't know, flying on like a magic carpet through like Santa Maria with Jose Alvarez, and
Mhm.
it's like those are kind of dreams we think more classically as dreams, but especially a while ago, like back when I was having more like way bad sleep issues, most of the dreams I was having was me being at work, and those were fucking terrible. Like it was just like sometimes I still have those dreams. Like when I was in the call center, for instance, it's like all my dreams started focusing around like dealing with customer issues and how to like help a customer, or help a customer, but kind of deal with them and get them like not angry at me.
Mhm.
And I'm glad I'm not having those dreams anymore. But yeah, those are that's definitely an instance of like a very mundane dream, but telling you how to do your job, unfortunately.
So it's advanced learning.
Uh,
Systems got you by the dreams, baby.
yeah, yeah. I definitely know I learn myself in my dreams, and I know that to be the case because like it's like I can pick up things pretty quickly, but it's like like for instance, the first day of this new role I had at the company, it was a lot thrown at me all at once. And if anyone was, like the people who were there, they're like, oh, you're catching on. Oh, you're kind of what you're doing, and blah blah blah. But personally, I kind of felt like just really confused and kind of like didn't know what I was doing. But the day after, I'm like, okay, it kind of all makes sense because my brain finally got a chance to all process that information and make sense of it, put it together.
Yeah, I feel like that has a lot to do with like sleep and letting everything kind of like rest. As I've long been a proponent of you can learn so much, and if you sleep on it, it'll solidify it. So the next time you do it, it's easier. If you try and keep learning like nonstop for hours, it's going to be very, very difficult to end up processing all of that.
Yep,
I think learning in short bursts is going to be way more effective,
yep, yep.
at
One
least
thing,
for me.
one kind of sad little thing is a technique I use, and I use it a little bit less because it was pissing off my girlfriend and other people. But it's like you ask me a question, and I'll say, I'll think about it. I'll get back to you, and I get back to him in like a couple hours or something. But it's like like you can make a decision, and sometimes the snap decision you're making is what you think you might say to that kind of question, right? So it's kind of like a heuristic,
Mhm.
like a little shortcut. But a lot of times I'm not really sure what I think. Like, let's say my girlfriend asked me, hey, do you want to come over for dinner on Saturday night with my parents? And I'm just like, let me think about that. And the answer is probably going to be yes. So like, 90% of the time it's a yes. But I just like to like have it processed in the back of my head. And then eventually I'm like, okay, yeah, sure. But she's like,
What about
why can't you just tell me right now?
a best of both worlds? Soft yes.
Uh, well, that's what I started doing. Like, probably yes, but let me think about it.
It's brutal, man.
I mean, she's at the point where I think she understands me more,
Yeah.
so I don't think it's as bad. But yeah, yeah. But other people, they don't really relate to that. But I know that there's some famous minds out there that kind of did that kind of stuff. Like Einstein was well known for like whenever he had like a vexing problem or a decision to make, he would just take like a long walk, and then after the long walk, he would make his decision or kind of have some sort of clarity on it.
I mean, for me, it's like when I've been doing trying to practice some piano and learning a
Mhm.
couple of video game related songs, and I play like twice a day for I'll do the little riff that I'm trying to learn 3 times, and then I'll just stop playing for a few hours, and then I'll go back and do the riff again, and then I'll be done for the day. The next day I'll be like way better because I just did a couple of tiny practice sessions and then let my brain just like rest on that. And that has been
Mm,
very, very effective so far.
yeah, yeah. And especially with that, if you're consistent with that, it's going to be way more effective than like one big dose of training. Like, 'cause
Yeah,
there's only so much you can do with one big dose of training.
right. Exactly. Like at first it was one big dose because it was like learning how to press the keys and like how to use different fingers and move around on the keyboard and stuff. But um now that I understand the core concept, like remembering what keys to hit in what order and for how long and timing and stuff is something that I'm practicing slowly in short bursts over time, and that works well for me. Think of it like hit training, right?
Oh, yeah, hit training, high intensity interval training, otherwise known as Kegel Hit, an app that's no longer on the Play Store because, yeah, they took it off.
Put it back up.
I'll do it eventually. Um,
What about all those Kegel users who are hitting away at their Kegels?
well, I guess their Kegels are going to be a little less strong, and that means if it's a guy who's trying
Wow.
not to get a girl pregnant, well, guess what? You got a baby on the way.
You're responsible for babies now, Nate. Way to go.
I mean,
All
if
because you
if I
won't
brought
update your app on the Google Play Store.
if I brought 7 babies into the world, those babies, when they get old, they should pay me for bringing them life. I
Does
am
that mean you does that mean you got those 7 girls pregnant?
by proxy.
I I got you. So you have to pay child support by proxy.
Well, no, no, no. The kids have to pay me support.
Do you have a disclaimer on the app?
I think I might need to do that. Well, thankfully the app's not there now, but on the new
Do
version,
that.
it'll have that disclaimer.
If you get somebody pregnant, I do not owe child support.
Yeah, yeah. Well, when I had the disclaimer in there, it was like the general, like, I think found a general medical disclaimer, like, this app is only for entertainment purposes and reports no health benefits, blah, 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 blah. This is not, because you kind of need that in there just in case someone thinks they're smart and, like one of those legal trolls.
Yeah. Oh, that's smart. Smart.
Yeah.
So Nate got 7 girls pregnant and almost died.
Yeah.
And what a story.
Which one is better? Getting 7 girls pregnant or almost dying?
Um, I mean, one brings 7 new lives into the world. One keeps 1 life in the world.
I see. So from a utilitarian point of view, you should impregnate as many people as you can. That way, actually, that's not true, because what if bringing life into the world is actually a detriment?
Yeah.
Right? Because what if there's too many people? So maybe each life actually has a negative value.
Or what if they're really shitty people?
Oh. So what I should really be is like a sperm collector. Just like...
Mark your calendars, folks. The day Nate realized his calling in life is to be a sperm collector. I think it's pronounced cum dumpster.
That's not what I was implying there. I was implying something whole else. So essentially, after a guy comes in as girl, like, you come and you collect the sperm and remove it out. That way, you lessen the burden on the world.
Nate, we need to talk. We're not topping that.